Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth episode of Be Europe. I'm Stefanos and with me as always, Caro. Hello Caro, did you do anything exciting during the weekend?
Hi, Stefanos. Well, I tried teaching my dog how to vote. Turns out posts don't work well with the ballot boxes.
That's a disappointment. I will be very curious to see what Peanut votes. We have an interesting episode today about the European elections and how they matter to young people, especially those from the rural areas. And to help us with that, we've got Nicolai Olsen from Rural Youth Europe joining us. Hi, Nicolai.
Welcome, Nicolai. Can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and about Rural Youth Europe?
Yes, I will try to do it short. I'm famous for being good at speaking, so I will try to do it short. I'm currently in Denmark, living in Denmark and working. I'm 29 years old, so even though I'm young, I'm in the old part of the youth. If you look at it in an EU perspective, Erasmus Plus perspective. And Rural Youth Europe is an organization it's an umbrella organization. So we have around 500,000 members spread out through Europe and also countries that's not in the EU. So we also have Norway and Switzerland. And then we have member organization in those countries. And we provide certain events through the year where we talk about it could be anything sustainable. How do your organization make your local community more sustainable? And then participant comes to the event and we talk and we make a report about it and make some things that the organizations can bring home, the members can bring home to the organization so they can use it further on. And that's like a fast explainer of Rural Youth Europe is, because it's so much more than just that. But that was the fast tour of it.
That sounds really interesting. And I'm wondering, are you excited about the European elections?
Yes, I am very much excited about it. I do not have the best knowledge about all the candidates that Denmark is putting up for the election. And my knowledge about the EU election is not that big. But since I work in Rural Youth Europe as a volunteer board member, I do know a bit about the rural aspect of the election. And that's what interested me. I saw one added me on Facebook. He's going for the parliament from my local area. And he has a motto for his campaign that was vote on me, less EU. And that was just demotivating to see someone going into the parliament to not work for more cooperation in the organization. And that made me realize there's actually people we vote in that not want us to have more cooperation in EU. That has always been like that. But I just realized now, never gonna vote on him.
Let's move now a bit to the barriers that young people living in rural areas face when it comes to the elections. And my first question is: do you think young people living in rural areas know enough about the 2024 European elections?
It really depends on the people, because I do know a lot of people in my area who is so much into environmental stuff. So they know politician who works in the green sector. So they know how, okay, if I vote on you, it's a better chance that we do something about this problem that we are facing right now. But I do also have friends that really don't care. It's not bad not to care, because EU is a big organization. And if you would know everything, you would need a master degree in politics or EU politics. So I do understand that. But it depends on the group of people and what their opinions and values are. And if you want to put it on a higher level, like Rural Youth Europe, when we go out, put a policy paper out, put it forward to the decision makers to say, this is our stand, this is our takes. then you are interested in it because you actually get to know the people that you vote in to sit in the parliament. That helps me getting motivated to it. And also, I want the best rights for rural youth people spread out through Europe and to us members as well. But it verifies of my friends. If you do local politics, you might not be like so interested in EU elections. So it verifies.
And what is the source of information for young people living in the rural areas when it comes to the EU elections? How they get informed?
When I think about this, I actually do not know. I know where I'm getting my knowledge from. It's from the volunteer work that I do, but I have no idea where the guys that I play football with. I do not know if they do care about the election, and I wouldn't know where they will get the information from. Maybe they have, if they're still going to high school, there might be a politician that would come out to the high school and say some words about you need to vote. I'm standing for this, and this is my opinion. And there might be some discussions in the local area with politicians. But I have when I read these questions, I was not sure what to answer because it's not a talk that we do. We do not talk about the upcoming EU elections already.
I'm very surprised because you didn't say social media in your answer when I say what is the source of information. And here at DPL, social media is our main communication tool. Maybe young people in rural areas, they don't get informed with social media.
Yeah, again, my social media is filled up with things from an EU perspective because of the work. But I think you need to be engaged in certain groups to get the informations. Especially right now, there's a lot about going on with the farming, agriculture. That's a big thing spread out through Europe. Also in Denmark, it's a big thing. And also, especially Denmark right now with the fishing industry in Denmark is decreasing. And people is like afraid to lose their job if they work in the fishing industry. And I don't think people in my area, it's bad to say they don't care because I do think they care. But I don't know if on a European level, I will actually have to go ask. That might be my next thing to do. Ask local people where do you get your knowledge from? Because I don't see any signs on the streets. I don't hear any people speak about it.
So when I'm listening your answers, the question which is coming to my head is, in your opinion, how close the young people from rural areas feel to the European Union and the European institutions? Do they feel the impact on their daily life of the decisions which are made at the European level, or it's more something which, okay, it's in Brussels, it's far away from us, we don't really feel that close to the European Union institutions?
It's a hard one to answer because many local youth in my area do not speak about election as much as we could do maybe. And I don't know if they feel like a European citizens. I think you need to do some kind of volunteer work. You need to go abroad. You need to see other young people from other countries facing the same issue to feel more connected to European level. So if you just go on a ski trip, skiing after skiing, and you visiting Malaysia once in your life, you don't see all the perspectives of the youth spread out through Europe. And for me, the turn point was when I went into rural youth Europe and I saw other people from other countries facing the same issues that we do in Denmark. And maybe in Denmark we have it quite good in a rural area compared to other countries. That made me connect to Europe, to the EU more than it would have been if I have not done that. And that experience, I don't think all the youth in my area and in Denmark have that experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I see your point. So you are saying that by taking part in the European programs, by exploring a world, you can build your connection. And I'm wondering if this lack of connection or lighter connection with the EU is one of the barriers why young people from rural areas, they don't have such a big interest within the topic of European elections. I mean, you mentioned that you are 29, so you already had few years, a few opportunities where you could vote in the European elections, and I'm wondering if there are any barriers which, from your experience, you can recognize and name it.
We do in schools. We do learn about the free things in EU, and also when I went to high school, I have on not EU on a high level, but I have like what is I don't remember that subject in English. The word I've got that, but I have a subject about where you learn a bit more about the EU. So that's what I learned from school. Otherwise, I would have to read all the things by myself. And in my family, we didn't talk about EU elections that much. Besides 3 days before we had it to vote, my father asked me, "What are you going to vote?" And I said, like something local, maybe someone that I have met before. I didn't have a better knowledge at that point. And one of the barriers is that we do not talk about it enough, and we do not see the impact. Not everyone, someone does, especially when you're in the agriculture industry and you're in the fisherman industry. You might know a bit more about it, and you might have some knowledge that others do not have because of the laws the EU provide. But you don't see it on a day-to-day basis, and that's something I don't see young people do at the moment. If you don't feel the consequences, or not the consequences, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean. If you don't see that on a daily level, it might be hard to follow. Why should I vote, and why do you want me to do that, or why should I be interested in it if I don't feel it on a day-to-day basis?
It's an interesting point.
I want to move a bit on the different forms of voting. So with all this, technology and internet, I've been hearing about voting by mail or, online voting. And Caro, do you know which country is the only country that votes online?
Is it Estonia?
Yes, Tony, I think it was in the quiz last week. Yeah, Nicolai, do you think that these, new ways of voting by mail or online voting could make it easier for young people in rural areas to vote for the EU elections?
Definitely, that will come at some point. No, like I don't think that's an argument that like it's gonna come, because right now we still have a generation that in Denmark, especially, I can only speak for Denmark and maybe some of the other Scandinavian countries, but like the old generation right now in Denmark maybe not be used to checking your mails online, having your pay slip going online instead. You need to get an order with this citizen service hall. You need to do it online and stuff like that. But from now on, all generations would be more into doing that. And especially in Denmark, all the post and all the mails you get from the government in some kind of way is online. When you get a fine from driving too fast, it's gonna come online. If you need your payslip, it's gonna be online. Everything is gonna be online. So I do know at some point we will all be able to vote on an app, on however they want to do it, and definitely that would increase the participants and the voting, especially in the youth, because they're on the phone anyway, and now they actually just have to do 4 clicks and then they can vote. Maybe use the thumb to get in on the phone, and then you are here. So that will definitely make a difference. I'm 100% sure of that. And also in rural areas, you may have to drive 5 kilometers to get to the voting place, and that also counts when you're young. You might not have the time. You might not. Nah, why should I do it? It doesn't affect my day-to-day life, even though it does. So that would help, and I think like sooner the better.
Oh, I'm definitely agree with you 100% on this one, especially when I'm thinking about the last elections in Poland and the voting in Poland, where people were waiting in the lines in the night for few hours, trying to get to the to the offices where they were allowed to vote. I do believe that if we will have the possibility to vote online, more young people will do it. And that's going to make all the procedure much easier and more user-friendly.
I'm also in the European Youth Forum. Rural Youth Europe is a part of that. And even though we all together in the same room, we do vote online. Like it's not that easy. It's not that hard to do. So, and people are engaged when you need to vote on something. You need to click yes, I'm here, and then you can go vote. And there's like, of course, there is a procedure of security about it, so no one can cheat, and that would need to be on point. And of course, it's going to be like that. But it's an easy thing to do. It's not that hard to do. So I really hope that they will consider that through the next election.
I think when was it? Maybe few weeks ago, we published an Instagram reel on our Instagram account about the different ways of voting, and I think we presented in a funny way, like voting online, which happens in Estonia. Then I think we mentioned the example of voting by ballot box that happens in almost every country. We put, I think, France in the video. And then the last one, it was mandatory voting. And I think we put Luxembourg. And if I remember correctly, in the comments below the Instagram reel, there was such a huge conversation about Estonia and the online voting. Like so many pros and cons, online voting all the time. Like if I remember correctly, like the young people were saying, yeah, like online voting is good, but it has a lot of security risks and so on. And then there was this whole huge conversation, which was very, very interesting. But Nicolai, so from your point of view, from what I understood, you are more pro online voting, right?
Yes, definitely for online voting. I think that would increase the participation in the EU elections. And also like, of course, there will always be the discussion about, is it safe enough? Is it not safe enough? But there's so many easy ways on your phone to make it safe. So like, I wouldn't be afraid to vote online. Because it would be secure, and if there would be a little bit that wasn't secure, they wouldn't do it. And also there would be procedures in it. So I would feel comfortable voting online as well.
And speaking of participation, we know that nowadays young people, they are involved in different forms of participation in political lives. It's not just voting in the elections, but nowadays youth participations take many different forms. Young people, they are protesting, they are sharing their opinions via social media portals. They create also, I don't know, like campaigns. They collect signatures under their proposals to the decision makers. And I'm wondering, when it comes to different forms of political engagement, from your opinion, like, do you see a difference between young people who live in the urban and those who live in the rural areas? Are there any forms more popular in your local environment?
It's different things they are interested in. I'm in a local organization, in a surf organization. I'm living in the part of Scandinavia is called Cold Hawaii. So we do have wave surfing. And right now, to our local politicians, our water is getting a bit poisoned. There's something in it that's not good. And actually, it's not good for human bodies, and especially not for our fish. And we want to make the policymakers aware of this problem. They do know it, but we want them to do something about it as well. So we have been online in our rural local organization, surf organization, and making people sign the signature that we will put to the policymakers in our local area to say, you need to do something about this. This is not good for our local tourism, because surfers don't want to surf anymore if the water is not good, for the fishermen as well. So that works in rural areas as well. And it's so long time since I have been in the city, living in the city, not been in the city, but living in a bigger city. So I don't think there's so much, especially in Denmark, there's so much different of the engagement of young people if you're in a city or you in a rural area, because it will be online most of the time. It's not nowadays. You don't go around hand signature and then go to the next one hand signature. That's way too hard at the moment. So we would do it online as well. And also in the parliament in Denmark, if someone wants them to talk about something, you can put up a signature thing, so you can sign it, and then it could be Nicolai wants the parliament to speak about how can we make food more attractive in local areas and buy local stuff, something like that. It could be anything. And then if I get 50,000 signatures on that one, the politician would have to address that problem. So that works pretty well. If you find the right case and you want them to talk about it, you can actually I'm just saying but you can do this for the politicians to actually speak about the problem that you recognize.
So I have one last question before the game. And basically I want to know, do you have any plans as Rural Youth Europe to get young people engaged and vote on the 2024 European elections?
I don't think we have put anything to our social manager at the moment, but definitely this is something that we want to address on one of our upcoming board meetings, because it doesn't have to be big. It can be a short video of me saying, please vote. It can be pictures of the board in a funny way that says, please vote. So anything would do, and anything would be good. So we definitely want to do something when we get a bit closer to it. And also during the day, when we are voting, might be posting some picture. Hey, as you remember to vote, this is your opinion and your opinion matters and stuff like that. But we haven't planned any campaign at the moment.
We see. Well, if you need any inspirations, feel free to use our materials. Very soon we will have second phase of our EU elections campaign on our social media. So you will see some very interesting situations from everyday life, where we are questioning if young people would let others choose for them. And if no, maybe it's worth to think about and actually take part in the EU elections and vote, and don't let others choose for you. So if you need inspirations, definitely Eurodesk, our info hub, it's there for you. And now let's play a small game of fact or fiction. So first, Nicolai, you need to choose your opponent. Neither me or Stefanos. Who is gonna be?
All right. I think I will take you, Caro.
I should stop asking, because I play this game almost with every guest of the podcast. But let's do it. It's fair enough. I don't know the questions. Stefanos is the one who is preparing them. No, absolutely fine. More than happy to play.
I think this time I didn't pick very difficult questions.
You should have told me that.
No, that's absolutely fine. Because also in my script, he's asking me to ask people if they would like to choose me or Caro. So I think there's just one right answer.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't actually see that before now. Funny.
Okay, then let's start. So I have 6 questions. So let's see. First question will go to you, Nicolai. So I will read some statements, and then you will need to tell me if the statement is a fact, so if it's true, or if it's fiction, if it's not true. So the first one is Denmark will have 15 members of the European Parliament in the 2024 European elections. What do you think? Is it fact or fiction?
You said 15?
15, correct.
Yes, it's that's true. We have 15 spots in the parliament.
That's correct. So 1-0 for you. Caro, next question is it's very, very easy actually. So
I don't believe you.
no. The first European Parliament, the very first European Parliament had only 10 representatives. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
It is fiction. And do you know the actual number?
I have no idea.
So the very first European Parliament had 78 representatives, and they were not elected at that time.
Okay, that's interesting fact.
Not elected? How is that possible? They was not elected.
Yeah, because the first Common Assembly was composed of 78 appointees from the 6 member states of the European coal and steel community. So it was at the beginning when the European Union started to be forming, before they decided that representatives from the parliament, they need to be elected.
Okay, thank you for teaching us new things.
So the score is 1-1. Let's go to the third question. Nicolai, the European Parliament was at its largest from 2007 to 2009. Fact or fiction?
So it was the most in the parliament.
The most member of the European Parliament, like the number, it was from 2007 to 2009.
That might be true. Is it a trick question?
It is true, yeah.
No?
Actually, in 2007, the European Parliament reached its highest number with 785 members of the European Parliament. And that changed when the Treaty of Lisbon came into effect, that they limited the amount.
Okay. Do you know why they limited it?
I don't know why. The reason, maybe it was too many people inside and they didn't have seats.
I know how hard it is when you need 100 people to agree on something. So imagine being 700 instead.
Yeah, and then in the 2024 European elections, we will have slightly bigger number than now. We'll have 720, and right now there are 705, if I'm not mistaken. Great, then let's move to the next question. Caro, it's a very, very easy question, and it's common knowledge, so you should know it. Cyprus.
How question about Cyprus can be a common knowledge?
Cyprus has the largest number of members of the European Parliament.
That's not true.
It's not true, of course. We only have 6 MEPs, unfortunately. We need more, but... So the score is 2-2, and then we have 2 final questions. They're very easy questions. I should have put more difficult ones. Okay, Nicolai, your last question. All the European countries will vote at the same time for the 2024 European elections. Is it a fact or fiction?
I do know when Denmark have to vote. That's the 9th of June. But is it is it when everyone does it? It makes sense when everyone does it. I will that's true. Everyone is doing it on the same day.
Unfortunately, it's a fiction. The dates are from the 6th to 9th of June, so they have to...
But to be honest, your question was tricky because you asked if they are voting in the same time. And they are voting in the same time during 3 days, from 6 till 9 of June. So I would say he was partly right. It's the same period.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if we think like that, the same period,
and
yes.
he knows the most important information when he will vote in Denmark. So I would give a half of the point.
Okay.
That should be fair.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to mean something when I actually know when they want to vote in Denmark. So that needs to get points.
Yeah. I think you are right. I think we can give him this point.
Definitely.
Okay. Then we are 3 for Nicolai and 2 for Caro. So Caro, if you get this question correct, then it's a tie. If not, Nicolai will win. And it's a very easy question again.
About Cyprus
No,
again.
no. This time is not about Cyprus. So, only one country in the European Union allows online voting in the
already asking
EU
about
elections.
That feels wrong to answer this question again.
And your answer is?
People will question if I know the questions before. Yes, I mean that's true. The only country is Estonia, and we have been talking about that already during this episode.
To be honest, I didn't know the question, so it was not me who wrote the question. So
Okay.
it was the first time that I found out about the questions as well. But the good thing is we have a tie. Woohoo! You're both the winners.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you both.
Fair play.
Thank you.
And I think it's time to wrap this episode. So thank you very much, Nicolai, for taking the time to join us, and thank you for sharing some great points with us when it comes to rural young people and the EU elections. And to our followers, be sure to check Rural Youth's website and social media channel to always be updated on the amazing job that they do.
Yes, definitely. And to everyone listening, your vote really can change things. So let's make it count. And stay tuned for the 5th and the last episode featuring Hanna Lache, the youngest member of the European Parliament. And don't forget to check which day you are going to vote for the European elections in your country. Thank you so much and see you soon.
See you soon.